G'day guys, welcome back. My name is Wildkard. Yeah, Scotland versus Italy, final game of the Six Nations. Scotland at home, Italy visiting team. And I had to make sure that I wasn't going colorblind and I'm not watching Wales versus Italy on replay from last year, okay? So this game was frustrating, frustrating to watch if you were a Scottish fan because it looked like for the most part of the game the Scotland team is dominant, is controlling the game, and yet again and again and again, the Scottish team was not able to convert that dominance into points for a very long time, frustratingly long time, not able to convert that. And then in the end, it looked like Scotland has finally put away in the second half with a couple of early tries, one early try in the second half. Or is there two? I think it might be two. And then you finally figured, yes, the Italians gonna roll over now. Nope. The Scotland team just almost looked like Wales last year. No, not almost. Did a Wales last year, basically. Took the gas off the pedal. Took the foot off the pedal. And the Italians slowly but surely claw them way back into the game. A lot of ill discipline for the Scottish teams. Italians were able to keep the scoreboard ticking over. And it was all the way to the Scotland team. The Italians were 5 points behind, right? 5 points behind, only 5 points behind. For the last, 7 minutes of the game, the Italians were chasing, just absolutely grinding on the Scottish try line, looking for that try, looking for that upset. And the Scotland team was frustratingly ill-disciplined as well. Just like, again and again and again, it looked like the Scottish team has defended. And then it was just like, yep, offside. Angus Garner had to issue a warning. And a yellow card was pending the way on the Scottish team. Oh boy. Look like it's going to be another upset for the Italians. And final second of the game. Finally, the Italians crumble under the pressure, crumble under the in front of the try line, drop ball. And Scotland had a scrummaging and Duhan van der Merwe suddenly decided to take out of, put his boots back on, ran like 60 meters down the try line, down the sideline from basically inside his own 5 meter line, and then offloaded to Kinghorn to score that final nail in the coffin, the bonus try win, 4 tries to 1 Scotland. This was the half for bonus point. This was a scary game for the Scottish fan, and finally the bonus point is quite important for the Scottish team because that means they're going to end up third in front, definitely going to be in front of England, and is it definitely going to be in front of England? Yeah, definitely going to be in front of England, Wales, and Italy. So no matter what happens for the remainder of the games, Scotland's going to have that spot, and it is what it is. Close one, and So I guess, this is a bit of an interesting game as well. This is a game without Finn Russell, who's been injured. Also without the fullback. What's his name? Stuart Hogg. And also there's a few other injuries as well. So the Scottish team, without Finn Russell, I thought looked obviously not as flashy. Kinghorn looked more like a center to me than an actual 10. Because he scored 3 tries this game. And he was just physically dominant. The Scottish team was not able to, physically get over the try line, get the ball to Kinghorn. He just tramples people over and goes in for the try, almost like a center. He looks tall. He looks physical. He looks tall, physical. Almost remind me of Geordie Barrett in terms of physicality and shape. Just very tall and I don't know what you might call it. Almost like a piece of jerky, right? Just pounds into you and gets over the try line. But this surely had a few heart attacks for the Scottish fans, I'm sure, from the game. Have a look at some of the interesting stats out of the game. 4 tries to 1. Scotland team 556 run meters to Italy's 406. At halftime, Scotland had 271 run meters to the Italy's 80. Yeah. And halftime score was 12 points to 6. So wasn't really able to convert any of that dominance into a substantial lead for the Scottish team. There was 1 turnovers conceded at halftime for Scotland, 1 turnover conceded for Italy. So a lot more turnovers conceded for both teams. Scotland conceded 8 in the second half, whilst Italy conceded 11 turnovers in the second half. Tackles count, 170 tackles made for Scotland. Very good tackles completion rate for Scotland. The one thing that I do feel like the Scottish team has improved a lot is their defense from what they were doing last year. I think Scottish defense was a lot worse last year. A lot of missed tackles, but this year there's a significant step forward for the defense. Everything aside, so 9 missed tackles against this Italian team. It's not too bad. 170 tackles made. That's actually very, very, very good. And for the Italians, the tackle count have to make 196 tackles, which is quite a bit. 34 missed tackles, not great, not worst. Probably us international test teams, you want to be a little bit lower than that. But it's still a pass also in test matches these days. Kicks in play, 18 for Scotland, 19 for Italy. The kicking game was very tame in the first half. Only 5 kicks for Scotland, 7 for did I say Ireland? Italy. 7 for Italy at a half time. So second half, the Scotland team was really trying to manage the Italian pressure with the what's his name, Ali Price doing a lot of field positional kicking to keep the ball pinned in the Italian half. Feeling when whilst feeling the pressure from the Italians inside their own side of the field. So there was a lot of that game management in the second half for the Scottish team. And breakdowns. The lineouts weren't great for both teams. 6 lineouts for Scotland, 3 lost. 12 lineouts for Italy, 3 lost as well, so not great for either teams. The scrum, 7 for the Scotland team, 3 for Italy, and 1 loss for the Italian side. So the Scottish team did have a little bit of scrum dominance in the first half. There was, I think, the Italians was under a little bit of pressure, but it wasn't like too much that you could abuse it for penalties essentially. So it wasn't too bad overall. Penalties conceded. So at halftime, Scotland only conceded 6 penalties and Italy conceded 8. So full time, Scotland conceded 9 in the second half, whereas Italy only conceded 2 penalties. So massive improvement for Italy in their penalty count. Italy did have a 1 yellow card, and that's pretty much the overall stats. Let's go through some of the tries and highlights of the game. So 4 tries, Kinghorn, the replacement for Finn Russell, a hat-trick this game. Like I said, the Scotland really didn't look like anybody could score, and Kinghorn just gets the ball and just like, I'm just gonna run it, and then crashes through multiple times. I mean, obviously, Van der Merwe did do a bit of did expose himself a little bit today. So Van der Merwe gets the first try 12 minutes in the game, and he has shown to the world he can't jump. Okay. Despite all the physical prowess, all the upper body muscle, all the speed and athleticism, the lush blonde hair and everything, he can't jump. Yeah, he went into the corner. You've seen this before, right? The players, as they're getting pushed out of the sideline, they try to jump into the corner. This was like the most awkward jump ever, right? He barely got off the ground, and his foot almost touched the ground on the outside. Like, he probably got off this much off the ground, like, honestly. And then he dunked the ball into the corner, right? This was like the worst jump I've ever seen. Normally players get a lot more airtime. People tend to go like horizontal when they try to jump into the corner and look good. Van der Merwe, we found his weakness. He can't jump. He can't jump. He can run. He can tackle. He can do everything. He can't jump. Okay? Maybe too much upper body, strength, right? He doesn't have the aerodynamic in him to jump and go horizontal, but he exposed himself a little bit. But luckily, he was still like millimeters off the ground when he dunked the ball in. So this was a try. Scotland gets their first try 12 minutes in. Oh yeah, this was after Italy get their first penalty early in the goal for 3 points. So a few minutes later, after the try was scored, Italy gets another penalty. They kick for another 3. So 6 points to 5. Really early up in the game, Italy has a slight lead advantage. So then the game kind of like went Scottish side for a very long time. Scotland basically was getting like back-to-back penalties, and instead of kicking for 3 points, Scotland really showed a lot of guts trying to go for the try. And for a very long time, Scotland was not able to convert that pressure into a try. So and then Italy was again and again looking like it was diffusing the problem. And it was starting to look like really frustrating. for the Scottish team after just really pounding the Italian line. And then there was a scrum. Italy was being receiving for quite a long time. The scrum collapses, and then Gardner says, "Enough is enough." Yellow card to Italian. I think it was the loose air prop on the no, it was a tight air prop. I think gets a yellow card for collapsing the scrum. Yeah, and suddenly there's one player less on the field. Scotland goes for another scrum, looking for a penalty try. Didn't happen. The ball goes out. Kinghorn just goes, "All right, I'm sick of this. I'll do this myself." He gets the ball. He had like a player outside of him. Didn't even try. Just stepped straight through 2 players. Dunks the ball down. 29 minutes in. Second try on the ball for Kinghorn. And that's basically how the first half ended. 2 tries to Scotland and 2 penalties to Italy. Again, just before halftime, Scotland was having a lot of dominance and not able to convert that into any points. Italy had a one last ditch of effort before halftime to potentially get some try before halftime, but it was the Scottish team defense was just a little bit too good. Second half starts. Scotland came out of the gates with a lot more energy than the Italians. 3 minutes of the game, the Scottish team was already kind of asserting that dominance they had in the first half once again. Just pounding the try line, pick and go. Then again, the Scotland must have done 10, 12 phases? Probably, I don't know. I'm just throwing a random number. If you felt like the Scotland 4-pack has ran so many phases, just inches short from the try line, finally, the ball comes out to the backs, and Kinghorn goes, "Hey, enough is enough. I'll settle this." He gets the ball. He runs through, basically bumps himself through 2 defenders again. Goes to try. It looked like there could have been an obstruction a little bit. One of the, I think it was Stang, one of the Scottish, I think it was Kyle Stang, was shoulder to shoulder with Kinghorn, and it looked like potentially the Italian winger could have been blocked a little bit. But the referee had looked at it, thought it was fine. I thought that if the Italian winger had made more of an effort to go for the tackle, because he was impeded a little bit, to go for the tackle, then that could have been disallowed. But it wasn't. He didn't really try. He kind of just reached out. Didn't really I guess didn't really make a big attempt to stop this. So yeah, Kinghorn gets a second try, 43 minutes in, and then you figure that the Scottish team would just follow this momentum and really just open up the field. And so after this try was scored, the Italians slowly but surely got themselves back into the game, right? I don't know how to describe this. It just literally looked like the Scottish team taking the foot off the gas. The key players, the big names, nowhere to be seen almost. The Italians wasn't that clinical, so the Italians wasn't well-oiled machine pounding into the Scottish team. The Italians were just dropping the balls themselves. A lot of their efforts were undone by themselves, and yet the Scotland was not able to capitalize on that, or was just not able to get themselves out of this this kind of Italian pressure. What's his name? I already mentioned this. There was a lot of kicking for the Scotland team at this point to just try to keep the ball out of their own half, to alleviate the pressure a bit. 62 minutes in, finally, Italians got themselves inside this. I think they almost scored a try before this penalty, but yeah, Scotland was able to hold out. But eventually, Italians got inside got a penalty, just a little bit of angle. Garbisi pops this one through, keep the scoreboard down to before this penalty was kicked, the Italians was just what happened here? Italians was just applying a lot of pressure, was not able to breach the defense. Garbisi gets the ball. He had 3-player overlap on the outside in the 15-meter line. He grabs his ball behind, and then Allen scoop out the ball in the wind, puts the ball there in through for a try for Italy. Suddenly, Italy is back in the game. What was it? 12 points? I think it was 12 points to no, it was 11 points because they had a penalty. 11 points to 11 points to 19. The penalty was missed by Allen, was quite an angle. So suddenly Italy is 1 try away to kind of level the game. But yeah, and then immediately after this try was scored, Italy gets another penalty inside. Garbisi takes a kick this time, pops it through for 3 points. So suddenly the gap is down to 5. Despite all the overwhelming dominance from the Scottish team, Italy is now within 5 with about 15 minutes left on the clock, 15 to, 15 to 17 minutes left on the clock. And then basically, again, Italy were just, like I was saying, pressuring, and Scotland was just trying to manage. Italy, eventually, with the clock ticking down, getting inside the Scottish half with a prolonged period. They had a penalty. They go for the line out. They go for the maul, and the maul was stopped. And then they pound the try line inches away for so many phases. And it looked like the ball kind of like comes out to try to go wide. The Italian fumbles the ball, and it looked like Scotland hold, right? Ghana says no. Scottish team was offside. So Italian gets another chance to go at it with about 2 minutes left on the clock. And then they instead of going for the lineouts, they go for a tap and go. They just pick and go and run the ball. And another penalty advantage just before, and you think that, Scotland really need to hold this try because Italy was just right in front of the goalpost, pounding through, and Italian drops the ball. And then Ghana goes back for the penalty advantage again. And Italy once again goes for another tap and go. And again, more pounding the try lines. The Italians almost was just like too scared to send the ball out wide because it looked like there was space out wide. If they just spread it out, someone could have gone in. But no, keep pounding, and then eventually another drop ball. And then, with about 30 seconds left on the clock, there was a scrummaging just in front of the Scotland goalpost, 5 meters out. The ball goes out. Scotland had the guts to run the full length of the field. They spread the ball wide to Van der Merwe, who's probably been taking a break for the last 30 minutes, feeling nice and fresh, gets the ball, just bolts down the sideline, and then he had Kinghorn inside of him, as he's getting covered by the fullback. Kinghorn receives the pass from him, and then runs in for the hat-trick, Kinghorn, and closes out this game 26 points to 14 with a bonus point win, and secures that third spot on the Six Nations ladder. And this is probably the biggest, this is the issue with the Scottish team. They're not able to convert pressure into points. Without Finn Russell, really probably lacked a little bit of ideas. Kinghorn, if Kinghorn wasn't in such a good, physical shape, and Van der Merwe as well wasn't in quite physical shape, the Scottish team could potentially not have won this game. And really, still quite a, some glaring issues here for the for Scotland going to the Rugby World Cup that they need to address. I don't know how they're gonna address it. This has been an ongoing issue for the Scotland team for many years now. That the consistency is just not there, not able to finish, not able to convert their opportunities into points efficiently, and going to the World Cup in the pool of death. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. But, for now, Scotland finished third, and people can celebrate. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you being here. And we'll be talking about the Grand Slam a little bit later. Thanks for watching, and see you a bit later. Cheers.